Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the EMTG webinar. I hope you all have a lovely day and a good beginning of the evening. I'd like to thank you all for participating in this webinar. Thank you for being interested in working in the Netherlands and working with EMTG. So to start things off, we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Joris. I am the EU recruitment coordinator at EMTG Healthcare. I've been with EMTG for the past 4 years now. And I'm also a registered nurse in the Netherlands. I have also experience with being a job mentor at EMTG. In that way, I help nurses from all over the EU to start working in the Netherlands. Daniela, if you can introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Daniela. I'm Italian. I'm a nurse, and I've been working in the Netherlands as a registered nurse and specialized nurse for the past 4.5 years. And I've also been working with MTG as a recruiter.
Great, thank you. So more on Daniela soon. She will do the Q&A, so you can ask your questions into the Q&A section if you have any. I also got some prepared questions that I already got in my mailbox from the past few days. So if you have a question for Daniela, you can ask it in the Q&A section throughout the whole presentation. So what are we going to talk about? First thing is, why choose the Netherlands? You can choose out of all the countries in the world. Why should you come to the Netherlands? We'd like to talk to you about that. Nursing in the Netherlands, what can you expect? What is the structure of the healthcare system in the Netherlands? And what is your role in that regard? Third, why you should choose EMTG. We have a lot of experience with that with this, and we have been doing this for a long time. I will tell you all about it later. We will also tell you about our language course, which is a great part of what we do and what we're specialized in. So I will also tell you a lot about our language course in Spain. And lastly, we will do the Q&A with Daniela, where you can ask your questions and Daniela will answer them. And if Daniela cannot answer them, or I will also participate in that. So your questions can be directed to both me and Daniela. So why choose the Netherlands, and what benefits will you get if you choose the Netherlands? Well, the Netherlands is known for its high quality of life. We take great care in our work and private life and the balance of that. People will always say that the Dutch work hard, but if you look at the European statistics, the Dutch work the least of all European countries, with a median work week of 30 hours or so. Also, as a nurse, a full-time contract will mean 36 hours tops. So that's why the Netherlands is also known about its working and private balanced life. We have a strong healthcare system. We have a lot of doctors, a lot of specialists, a lot of international research has been done in the Netherlands as well, and that is also implemented in our healthcare system. As I said, we have an international work environment. People from all over the world come to our universities to conduct research here. And also there's a lot of congresses, a lot of knowledge being exchanged here. So a very international work environment, which you will benefit as well from as a nurse, because you will encounter a lot of international people in healthcare as well. That being said, there's also a growing shortage of healthcare professionals in the Netherlands. So that means for you and for all healthcare workers inside the Netherlands, there's a lot of opportunities for career and for your career growth. So, nursing in the Netherlands and the healthcare system in the Netherlands. So, to sum things up, in the Dutch healthcare system, everyone has it. It's mandatory to pay insurance as a resident. If you come to the Netherlands and start living here, you will have to pay a mandatory health, which is at this point around 150 euros a month minimum, which you can upgrade as you see fit. So everyone pays health insurance, but the government oversees it. So it's private, but it's also the government. And in that way, we all pay for our health care for each other. Until people are 18 years old, the coverage is free. So after that, everyone pays a mandatory insurance. So the healthcare is financed a lot from taxes, around I think around 15 to 20% per year of the whole domestic product is allocated to healthcare. So it's a lot, and it's bound to grow because there's a growing health shortage and the need for people needing health. So it's a lot of tax money going into healthcare. And on top of that, also everyone chips in with the insurance money. The healthcare system in the Netherlands, you can really boil it down to three fronts. So as if you come in as a patient, you first see your GP, your general practitioner. In the Netherlands, we call it a huisarts, which translates literally to house doctor. So you come at your GP, you tell him what's wrong, and he or she will primarily can do three things. Mostly, and this is also a running joke in the Netherlands, she will prescribe paracetamol and send you back home. That's what happens a lot. But what the doctor also can do is prescribe other types of medication, or he or she will send you to the hospital to a specialist, or will prescribe home care, or will send you to a physiotherapist. So everything is possible, but the first person you will see if you are starting getting sick is often your general practitioner. So talking about nursing in the Netherlands, so really the job you will encounter as nurses yourself. So in the Netherlands, we have around 6 levels of healthcare workers. So beginning at level 1 and 2, these are just your basic care assistants. So they give very basic care, like putting on the clothes of the patient, feeding, helping with going to the toilet, that sort of thing. They distribute medication. They don't even are not even allowed to give medication to the patient. So it really is the most basic of healthcare, which is really important. But that's mostly for the level 1 and 2 care assistants. Also, basic care carries over to all levels. So even as a level 5 nurse, you will also be giving basic care, albeit not as much as a level 1 or 2 care assistant. Level 3 nurses is a type of nurse assistant which you will encounter a lot. It's the biggest group of healthcare professionals in the Netherlands, especially in elderly care. So what they do is they do also a lot of basic nursing care, but they're also allowed to distribute and give medication to the patient. So to emphasize on distribute, not prescribe medication, of course. And they also are allowed to do a lot of technical nursing stuff. Around 80 to 85% of the things a nurse can do, a registered nurse, these nurse assistants can do as well. So they are really the backbone of the healthcare industry concerning elderly care, and also a little bit of psychiatry. Then from level 4 on, you'll encounter the registered nurses. So these nurses are registered in a um, register. It's called the big register, and it's you have this in all sort of countries where you have a register where all nurses you can look them up. Same goes for doctors. Everyone has their own register. In the Netherlands, it's all being done in one register. So in the big register, you will encounter doctors, physiotherapists, nurses, dentists, and a lot more. So if you are a nurse, a registered nurse, you will be at this register. And also, when you come to the Netherlands to work as a nurse, we will help you with obtaining that registration because, without that registration, you are not able to work as a registered nurse. Um, these kinds of nurses are fully qualified. That means they can do all the technical stuff a nurse may do. Um, so all the things you encounter in the hospital, you are allowed to do that. All the things you have probably learned at school, you can do that. Um, that doesn't mean it's automatically also expected from you. It's up to you to determine what you can and cannot do. So if you have had a long time since you inserted a catheter in a mill, for example, then you're allowed to say that you need a little, mm, how do you say, you need a little freshen up before you do it for real again. So it's your responsibility to determine if you are able to do the things they ask from you. Um, but you are authorized to do it. Going from level 4 to level 5, this is the level of nurse which will need a bachelor's degree of nursing. In this field of nursing, this level, a little bit of leadership and more complex care is expected. You are expected to not only focus on the patient, but also his or her environment. So that means you look into what the family can do in terms of the care of the patient, or you look at the place where the patient is living. And you all put in those factors and then create a good plan for your patient. So this is a little bit more complex and goes beyond the patient, and that's where the level 5 is mostly for. But overall, the difference is not that big between level 4 and level 5, except in salary, of course, which is a little bit higher, level 5. And after level 5, you'll encounter the nurse specialists, which is quite unique in the Netherlands. It's also not easy to explain, but a nurse specialist is a 2 years of master, and you can specialize in a certain field, for example, psychiatry or elderly care, geriatrics. And if you're a nurse specialist, you can do certain tasks that a doctor would normally do. For example, prescribe certain medication, mostly benzodiazepines or that type of medication. You won't prescribe opiates, morphine, that sort of stuff, but some how do you say, some easygoing medicine that you can prescribe, and you're also feeding back to the level 5 and 4 nurses in terms of what the care plan should be, and you have a bit more of authorization in that. And then beyond that, you come into the realm of the PhD levels, the nurse, the educators, the ones who are teaching at university, and also the research nurses, which is also a specialty in itself. Salary wise, so this is salary what you can expect as a CNA or a level 1-2 nurse. Going to the level 3 nurse, it gets a bit higher, and this is what you can expect as a registered nurse, depending on the years of experience you have, and also in your case, how you perform in the workplace, and how your Dutch is going, how well you can communicate with the doctor, with the family. It all weighs in, and contributing to the factor of what you earn. But as a starter, you can expect around 39K, and as a senior nurse, it goes up to 59K a year. And all these salaries are gross salaries based on full-time contracts. And once again, a full-time contract is considered 36 hours in healthcare. So you should take that into account. So this is a little bit of the same what I told before, but just to sum it up, as a career, as at the path of your career as a European nurse, whether you're from Spain or Portugal or Italy or Greece, you will start in the Netherlands with your certificate of language from our Dutch school and a Dutch institution, an official institution. Does that mean you are ready to also take up all the responsibilities as a nurse? I hope so for you, but in our experience, there's a little bit of time needed before you are fully ready to work as a nurse and take on those responsibilities, because a lot of family members, the doctor, the colleagues, some of them, of course, they may be able to speak English or Spanish, maybe even, but I wouldn't expect it. Maybe 1 in 10 can speak another language next to Dutch. So that's why the Dutch language is really vital in order to really, to really do your job well. And that's why we have decided that every nurse who comes to the Netherlands begins at level 3. That way, you can begin working, you can start earning from the get-go, and while you are working and earning money, and also putting in some experience, you can also finish up your paperwork in order for your registration, and you can also just practice a bit before the real work begins at level 4 or level 5. So at level 3, you are still under a bit of supervision by a nurse, registered nurse. Then I mean, and there's also a little less expected from you. So this is where you will begin. And then at level 5, as soon as the paperwork is done, you are a registered nurse, and you can also begin at level 5. But this will also be in collaboration with your employer, the organization you work at. So in our experience, you will have around 6 months of working as a level 3 nurse, but often a lot less than that. You can also, I have also had nurses who were a level 5 nurse within 8 weeks. It also depends on how quick your paperwork is going and how quick the institution, the big register, is with your application. These are things we cannot control. The registration period at the big register, they say it's around 6 weeks, but I would expect 6 weeks minimum. It can also take 12 weeks. I also seen it being done in 2 weeks. It also depends which support you got. Luckily, you will have EMTG as your support. So we did it around 900 times, so we know what to expect and how we can really put your application as best forward in order for you to get your registration quickly. But so you will start off with level 3, then grow into level 5 if you have a bachelor's degree, and then usually after the program of EMTG, you can decide for yourself if you want to specialize or pursue other studies, become a nurse specialist, a nurse educator, or a nurse researcher. It's really up to you. Within the EMTG program, we mostly focus on the level 3 to level 5 because, yeah, but also you never know. There can also be study paths you can take with EMTG. The job offers we have in the Netherlands, so it changes all the time. We had job offers in the whole of the Netherlands in the past. These are our most prolific places of work. We have a lot of nurses who expect they would be working in Amsterdam. It's not impossible, but just to keep expectation realistic, it's also possible you will work in a more distant place from the cities of Rotterdam or Amsterdam. For example, Heerenveen, which is in the north, as you can see. This is around 1 hour and a half of driving to Amsterdam, which in Dutch terms is a really long time. But for example, in Spain, that's around the corner. So the Netherlands is quite small. You can go everywhere within one day. You can cross the whole country in one day. But also we have to take into account the housing is a little bit difficult in the Netherlands now. And as you can expect, the housing market here is very different than the housing market here or here down south. Meaning that it's a little bit easier to find suitable housing here along with work than, for example, in Amsterdam. But we usually have job offers everywhere in the Netherlands. So when you come in contact with us and you are really interested in the program, we can tell you a bit more where we have the opportunities right now. So why should you consider or even choose EMTG healthcare if you are interested in applying to a job in the Netherlands? Well, at first we were one of the first organizations that really hires nurses from all over Europe to be placed into the Dutch healthcare system. We've been doing this for over 13 years. We place more than 900 healthcare professionals. That meaning not only nurses but also doctors, psychiatrists, and auxiliary nurses. So that's quite a lot. And what we offer when you start working with us is job security. So we will make sure you have, of course, we will do everything we can to make sure you have a job when you come to the Netherlands, and also have an income. That at first, make sure you have an income, so you have a little bit of security when you come here. We also make sure you have an individual approach. That means that we have job mentors or job coaches working for us. They are usually nurses themselves or have experience working as a nurse or as a nurse who came to the Netherlands one time and now is fully integrated into the Dutch healthcare system. They will give you advice and answer your questions if you have any need of that, and also and be your advocate as well on the work floor, because Dutch healthcare it's a culture on itself, and it's important that you navigate it comfortably and that you are being heard and that you are able to voice your concerns or voice the difficulties you have. And that's where a job mentor really can be really effective for you, and really be your advocate towards the place of or organization where you work at. Uh, so we also, of course, offer language lessons, because without the Dutch language and without the certification of language, you cannot work as a nurse. So that speaks for itself. The support you get from us goes throughout all of the program, but we see the time that is needed the most in terms of when you need our support is in the first year. But of course, if you are with us for 18 months, then also in the 17th month you can also call us and ask for help. So as I was saying, we also guide you towards a nurse registration, because it can be quite overwhelming with all the paperwork and what do I need and where do I apply, and they want to see something different in my experience, and how do I do that? These are all the things that really needs an individualistic approach, because everyone has a different background, and different past as well, and so we try to uh, do the application in collaboration with you, and make sure you have your registration as soon as possible. Also in housing, because, well, it's pretty hard to show up at work if you don't even have a house. So we also help you with that, or even take over fully. Um, So, and after the program, or when the program is near its end, there's also a question, okay, what do I do now? Usually a lot of nurses have a goal in mind. They want to visit in an academic hospital, or they want to pursue a certain specialization, but they don't know where to look. And also we are more than happy to give you guidance on how to continue your career in the Netherlands. So about the Dutch language course. So we do the Dutch language course in Spain, in Gavia, which is near the city of Alicante. The course has a duration of 4 months of really intense learning. You will live together at the academia, which is it's sort of a campus. So the accommodation is included, food, breakfast, lunch, dinner. It's really we try to take everything out of your hands so that you can focus on learning Dutch. Because 4 months, it sounds like a long time, but we have in that time we want to get you up to level B2 in Dutch. So it's really 6 days per week of studying and classes, and also with some homework as well. Luckily, there's also teachers. There's a lot of teachers, Dutch-speaking teachers, but also English teachers. So it's also important you have a good basic understanding of English if you want to be successful early on in this course. Um, and we also celebrate King's Day and Sinterklaas at the academia. So to get you up to speed in the Dutch culture, so you can party along with us when you come to the Netherlands. So our language course is also focused on healthcare. You won't encounter, for example, engineers at this language school. It's really focused on nurses, and so all of your classmates will probably also be nurses or healthcare workers from all over Europe. And yeah, we have seen in the past that yeah, a lot of friendships have been made in the Dutch language school. Some people even met his or her future partner. So it's a really fun place and really beautiful place. So with that all talked about right now, we have the Q&A because I can only speak about things for so long. So yeah, if you go over to the Q&A section, you can ask your questions there. You can also use the chat function. Um, Daniela, to start off, which cultural differences in healthcare stood out to you when you first arrived in the Netherlands? Or maybe it's good if you you talk about a little how did you come in contact with EMTG and how did you begin in Dutch healthcare? What was the beginning about? If you can start off with that.
Sure. So it was 2020, and I was working by the ambulance in Italy in the middle of the COVID period. And I wanted a getaway. So I booked for Amsterdam because it was the only place that was reachable from Italy for 3 days. And there I fell in love with the culture, with people biking, and with everything that was like perfect. So then I came back home after those 3 days, and I just Googled working in the Netherlands as a nurse. And then the first result that I got from Google was EMTG healthcare. So I applied. I had some meetings with the recruiter, the former recruiter, and then I onboarded in like 3 weeks. So I applied in December, and in January, after the festivities, I was in Spain to learn Dutch. And it may seem that Dutch is like another kind of language, but it's doable. It's not like compared, you cannot compare it to Italian, to Spanish, to French, but it has a lot of things in common with English and with German, if someone speaks German. And if you go to the academia, I recommend it because it's very intensive. So as Joris said, it's 6 weeks a day, 6 days a week, from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then you have homework. But it's very good because you're not alone. There are teachers that are other English speaking or French speaking or Spanish speaking people. And it's very interactive. So that way you can learn it faster. And in 4 months, you can really learn it up to level B2.
So when you arrived in the Netherlands, how was it to use your Dutch for real? How did you overcome that language barrier?
Yeah, so in the beginning, it was a language shock, of course, because you would like to express yourself like you express yourself in your language, but then it's not really 100% possible. So it's a little bit frustrating. But that's really a matter of 1 2 weeks, because I've always spoken to not only patients and doctors, but also colleagues, people at the supermarket who were available to speak Dutch to me. And I have an advice. It's very important that in the beginning you never say yes to everything, because this is the first thing that we as foreigners that I did in the first week. So answering yes to questions, but then you don't know really what the person is speaking about. So just don't be afraid and ask, can you please repeat it again? Can you help me understanding? And Dutch people do it. It's no problem at all. And the cultural shock in the healthcare, I had two in particular. The first one is that I've begun, as Joris said, you begin as level 3 before you get your papers to be recognized as a nurse. And I've begun in the home care, and there I stayed for a little bit longer than 3 years. And the second week, when I was settled down, I had my patients. Then my colleagues asked me about vacation. Like, do you have vacations planned? Are you going to take 2 or 3 weeks? And I came from the ambulance where I worked like 24/7. I thought, okay, but I am the last in line. I've just arrived. Do I like get vacation? And they said, yeah, vacation is very important for the Dutch people. Everyone gets it. Doesn't matter if you are the last arrived or if you work there 10 years. So that's a big difference with Italy. And the other big difference is the collaboration, working together with doctors, because they're not higher than you, but they have different tasks. So you work together for the patients. So like in the beginning in the home care, when I called the doctor, then I thought it was like a secretary, and the line said, "Hey, I'm Catherine," and asked, "Yeah, sorry, who?" They said, "Oh yeah, the family doctor." And I thought in Italy would be impossible to call the doctor by its first name.
Yeah, so I didn't really touch on this point, but the hierarchy in the Netherlands is healthcare is also really different than other countries. Can you a little bit explain a little bit how can you describe the hierarchy in the Netherlands? You gave a example, but in a broader sense, what is your experience with the hierarchy in the Netherlands?
Of course, as you said, you explained the levels, and everyone has some tasks. So, like the nurse, also like other countries in Europe, can do like tasks of the nurse assistant. We help each other, but you cannot expect to do the work of the physiotherapist or of the doctor. But everyone works for the patient. It's like a horizontal hierarchy, we say here. Like now that I'm specialized, I'm no nurse practitioner, but I'm specialized. I work in tropical health, and I work together with the doctor. But like I can prescribe some vaccines, I can prescribe some diagnostic exams, I can prescribe some medicines, following protocols and of course. But like I speak for my country of origin, for Italy. In Italy, it's like a war of the poor, we say, because the doctor fights with the nurses because they don't want that the nurses do too much. Then the nurses fight with the nurse assistants. But like here in the Netherlands, the nurse assistant, depending on the experience, of course, can do a lot of things that a nurse assistant cannot do in Italy if they are trained for. And I don't think it's a threat for my profession because the patient is central. So we work for the patient. So that's a really big difference.
Yeah. And when you collaborate with the doctors and your other colleagues, how do you experience that collaboration? How can you describe that?
I would describe it, it may seem strange, but I would say that it's like a friendship. It's like everyone is friendly. And in the beginning, maybe I was a little bit afraid of asking, like, I've never done that. Can you explain me how to do that? Because I thought maybe I'm not good enough. But now I know that we are on the same level as people. So like if the doctor asks me advice about like I don't know, wound care, because I also have a specialization, then I give advice to the doctor, and then I ask the doctor advice about other things that are uh, competency of the doctor. So it's like it's it's very easy.
Yeah. That's although I'm a Dutch nurse myself, or I've worked as a Dutch nurse for a long time, I really agree with how you describe the friendliness of each other because you're all really doing it together and there's just one goal in mind and that's that of the patient. So especially with doctors and calling them by their first name, that's really common and also expected in Dutch healthcare. So that's funny to hear. Um, so you were a experienced nurse in Italy. You have experienced a lot of there. Then you come to the Netherlands. Now it's been a couple of years since you left Italy for the Netherlands. Um, are there what kind of things would you rather see? What did you learn from Netherlands, which you would like to see in Italian healthcare, and maybe vice versa as well?
Yeah. Um, what I saw in the Netherlands is especially the collaboration with the doctors. So I really would like that Italy learned from the Netherlands from this point of view, because it's very important. And also the possibility in the Netherlands to have like a great career. Like in Italy, especially from the south, I come from the south of Italy, from Sicily. You graduate, you begin, if you're lucky, in the hospital or like in the ambulance or in the elderly care, and there you stay for your life until you get to your pension age. Like in the Netherlands, it's very easy to switch jobs, so to switch companies, to say like, okay, I'm done with the home care. I want to pursue another specialization. And like in Italy, it's very difficult to do it. So
So
that's something to
yeah,
see in
y-
Italy.
you you say home care, and that means that you give care to patients at their own home. So you go by home to home and then give care there. So not to get confused with a nursing home care, because that's inside a
Yeah,
facility. So you touched already on a point that you are a specialized nurse now. This is, I guess, beyond the EMTG program.
yeah,
Um, how did you get this specializations, and can you also explain what did it cost you? What did you need to do? Because I guess in some countries it's pretty hard to specialize yourself or to really follow another path. How was that in your experience to really change up the way you have went on in your career?
yeah. First of all, and that's another difference that I learned between Italy and the Netherlands, that in the Netherlands you can also speak to your boss, to your employer. You can speak freely. So after those 18 months with MTG, I decided to stay with the home care institution because I liked it. I still like it. But then I wanted to do not more, but something else. So I asked them, I would like to get a specialization. Of course, it depends on where you work, because if you work in the home care, you cannot ask your employer to pay for like, I don't know, surgical nurse specialization, because it must be something that you use uh, in that setting. And there was offered by the employer, so zero cost for me, so for free, because it's always the employer who pays for you. So they invest in nurses, they invest in ourselves to let us remain in this company. So I specialized myself in home care nursing, and I became coordinator of all the teams, 5 teams in my area, in my district. And then they paid for me for a 1 year specialization in nursing leadership. That like I think it doesn't exist in Italy. And then after that, because I love traveling and I wanted to combine traveling with nursing, um, then I decided to change a setting. So I applied with a company who provides like advice and vaccinations for travelers. And they told me, "Do you have experience in this field?" I told them no, only nursing experience. So they paid for another year of specialization for me. So that's really a big difference with Italy. Because in Italy, there are specializations. You can specialize yourself on university level, but you have to pay it for yourself. And then your salary doesn't change. You keep on working for your employer. You have extra skills, but they are not paid.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so it's really common for employers to really invest in their nurses. In a point I said before, there's a shortage of nurses. So for any organization who can attract and maintain those nurses, it's really important also in giving all their patients the right care. So it's really common for organizations to pay for the studies or the specializations you would like to do. But in turn, and correct me if I'm wrong, Daniela, it is also expected that you remain for a while at that organization.
Yeah. Yes, of course, because they invest in the nurses, but it's not that, no one does it for free. So, I mean, I didn't have to pay for anything, but I can't imagine that someone pays for you for the specialization. And then at the end of the specialization, you get your degree and you go to another company. It wouldn't be fair. So, to be honest, they ask you to stay like 1 year, 2 years. It depends on the agreement.
Yeah, okay. So we've talked about a lot about the nursing life, but also a little bit just about integrating into the Dutch life, the Dutch society. So how was it for you to integrate into the Dutch life outside of your work and outside of the community of your colleagues? How would you what was your experience?
Yeah, it was not very easy, to be honest, because like in the Netherlands, people work with the agenda. So it's almost impossible to say, let's go tonight to grab drinks or to eat out because you have to plan it. But then when you learn to plan it in advance, then it's really doable. Now I have my own agenda, and when people ask me to go out, I always say I have to check my agenda. So I get it from this point of view. But there is like a lot to do. Everything, really everything, also in the countryside, is reachable by public transport. Um, if you use public transport, like on weekends, on holiday days, you also get like discounts. Um, and there are, speaking about myself, a lot of concerts in the Netherlands because I love going out to concerts. And when I lived in Sicily, not every famous artist came to Sicily for concerts, but there is really a lot to do. And it depends also on your lifestyle, because I always say to colleagues who want to come to the Netherlands, if you want to party, to drink, to eat out every day of your life, then there is no salary that's adequate for these things. So it depends on your lifestyle. Like, I love traveling, so I prefer to save money for traveling, and then I travel almost every month, like for weekends. So
Do you
then it
all, sorry.
find your balance.
Do you also like travel because you say you travel? Do you also travel within the Netherlands? Do you go to because most of the people are very oriented in the area Amsterdam, Rotterdam. But can you also give an example of a really good hidden spot in the Netherlands somewhere which no one talks about?
Yeah, sure. If you live here, you will have like a love-hate kind of feeling with Amsterdam because it's very popular. It's nice to see. It's nice to go there, but there is so much to see. Like, I love visiting castles, and there are a lot of castles like in the centrum, in the south of the Netherlands, and they are reachable by car, by public transport. And I fall in love with the north of the Netherlands, like Groningen, Leeuwarden. There are really, really nice cities, young cities, because when I came here, I thought, yeah, who would ever want to go to the north? But then, like Groningen, there's the university, a lot of internationals, a lot of young people, theaters, and things to do. So there is really a lot more than Amsterdam, and also cheaper.
Mm, true, cheaper as well.
Yeah,
So all in all, what do you appreciate most about living in the Netherlands, if you can name one thing?
yeah, I would say the balance that I found between working life and private life. And also, as you
So
said, working week is 36 hours, but you can decide your working hours together with your employer. So, like, if they offer you a 36-hour contract, that doesn't mean that it's mandatory for you to work those hours. Like, I wanted to work 40 hours, so I asked for it and I got 40 hours. but like I have colleagues who work 3 days. So it's, you can find your balance.
Yeah, and sometimes they also, which is also pretty unique in the Netherlands, you can always choose um, uh, one day in the week which you will
Okay.
always be free. That's
Yeah,
usually a thing. That's the first thing. There's the first two things they will ask you when you come
yeah,
work at the Dutch organization. Do you have any vacations planned? So they will already put you out of the planning. And the second question is, what is your what day in the week do you want to
yeah,
be out of the out of works? So yeah,
correct.
that's nice. Do you still have a day off every time every week, or do you just work 40 hours
No,
now
I
every day?
had to give a free day that I wanted, but I don't care about it, so I leave it
Mm.
to my Dutch colleagues. But like what I do by my current work is that if I want to have more free days, instead of using my vacation days that are like I think 4 weeks and a half per year, um, then I ask to have 3 days, and then I work like an extra day. Like I work weeks of 4 days and weeks of 6 days, so that I have three free days without using vacation days. And like that was impossible in Italy.
Yeah.
So that's really a good aspect of our life in the Netherlands.
Okay. Going back to a little bit to nursing now, because we are nearing the hour, the end of the webinar. So, about your qualifications, what was it easy or difficult, and or what was your experience when you wanted to get your qualifications recognized in the Netherlands?
Yeah. It was not difficult, but in my case, it took almost 3 months to get my big registration because I left my original papers at home. So I had to wait for the original papers to be sent home. So that's what I always tell to nurses, to colleagues who want to come here. Get your papers, get your original papers, and then come to the Netherlands because then it's easy. Because 3 months is really the maximum amount of time that it takes for your recognition. For the rest, it takes really a couple of weeks. Like I got my diploma, university diploma in 2020 in Italy, and then after 5 years, you have to do your like registration in the Netherlands because you pay the your employer pays. I think it's 85, 90 euros, and it lasts for 5 years. Like in Italy, you pay every year. So now it's 2025. I had to redo, to resend like my papers to show them that I worked that asked the amount of time, and I got my new registration in like 2 days.
Yeah.
So if you follow the papers, it's very easy.
Yeah. When I did my re-registration, I only had to give up where I worked at the past years and the amount of hours I worked, and then automatically they gave me another 5 years. So sometimes they want to they dive deeper into you in your profile, but often it's just
Extra control.
yeah, yeah, it
But
goes
it was
really
easy.
fast.
In 2 days, it's over.
Yeah, 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if at first your application fails or you need an additional paper, that often doesn't mean that you have to reapply the whole thing. So they will if
Yeah.
anything that is correct, they will keep in your file. So you only have to apply or add the things they still need. So that's also a great thing and makes it a little bit easier. Yeah. So you don't have to start all over again. Also, the fee you pay to the big register is just one time. So you don't have to like refinance to
Yeah.
obtain your registration. Um, so are you planning to go back to Italy one day, or how do you see your future in the Netherlands?
I don't know it's in my future, but I know that if I ever had to come back to Italy, then I wouldn't work in healthcare. I would do something else, but not in healthcare. Because then when you're used to this kind of like working together with other professionals, with your um, private life, work life balance, then you don't go back. So I say never. So I can't say I see my future, I want to go back to Italy. But if I had to, I would do something else.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. So to close things off, so we now have a room full of nurses or auxiliary nurses or doctors who are thinking about moving to the Netherlands and start working there in healthcare. Uh, you have been through those experiences. Right now a few years has passed. You now have really an interesting and nice job, I think. So you have really like yeah uh, uh, are really successful in this program and living and working here. So what advice would you give all these people when they are considering working in the Netherlands?
Yeah. I would give you just advice to like take a leap of courage, just do it, just learn the language. That's really the basis for a good career, and then everything will be good.
All right. Um, So that concludes the webinar and the Q&A. As you might know, we will also send the recording to everyone who participated in the webinar, so you can look it up. And also, if you have any questions about the webinar, then you can, of course, you can contact us. As we say in Netherlands, bedankt voor jullie aandacht. You can contact us by email, or you can apply directly with your CV on our website, emtg.nl. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You are updated on our opportunities. You can also send us a DM. We also have parent social media channels for every country that we recruit from. So if you want to talk to someone in your own language, that's also possible. Um, for now, I wish you all a great evening. I want to thank Daniela for her great Q&A. I want to
And
thank you for sending in the questions. And I hope to see you all soon and to start a great adventure in Netherlands. All right. Bye, everybody.
thank you all. Bye bye.
Bye.